Is here in the world of Shore Conference football, and we are back to talk about it. It's the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network, live to you tonight from River Rock Restaurant and Marina Bar in Brick. Ed Sarluca along here with me, Bob Batters, Steve Meyer behind the camera, Tom Trembley, our engineer. Really a jam-packed show tonight. Tons to talk about. Week 6 to recap, Week 7 to look forward to. The Shore Conference pods, I will put the air quotes up because they're not really pods. They're additional postseason games. We'll talk about that a little later on. 2 legendary Shore Conference coaches will join us as well as we're talking Long Branch football and Middletown South football tonight. So Danny George of the Green Wave and his senior quarterback Christian Rodriguez. They'll be joining us in just a few minutes, and then later on in the show, it'll be Steve Antonucci from Middletown South along with his senior quarterback Tom Shork. So 2 great coaches, legendary coaches to get to, and a lot of important games from the past to look forward to. And again, a lot of Shore Conference football to talk about, Ed.
Yeah, we're only getting into the meat of the schedule with these additional pod games that I keep saying pods, but additional games that they added today, and they told the coaches and the staffs who everybody is playing. And I want to thank Danny George and Christian for coming down, as well as we'll do with Steve. Not easy for Danny. Steve is on a bye this week, so it's a little bit easier for him and the staff to take off a couple days. But Danny's got a big one against the crosstown rival Ocean Township this week to try and keep his undefeated record intact. But, 2 legendary coaches. You can't ask for more. Let's mention real quick our setup out over here at the River Rock.
Exactly, yeah. If we look a little different on camera, our normal room inside was booked, so we're out here. And a pretty good night to be out. You never know.
The beach bar, right?
Mid to late October. We've had some setups before in previous years where we've been out freezing a little bit. But it's a beautiful night tonight, around 70 degrees. We got literally the sand beneath our feet here out at the beach bar at River Rock. So
yeah, the only thing bad is that we're not watching the Yankees on the TV.
Well,
for 2 big Yankee fans here, right?
Till next April. Nobody. I got some Rangers hockey later to watch.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a different show. So Week 6 in the books. We had all the division titles officially clinched. The division schedules are completely done, so no more division games. We have this week where it's all non-divisional, non-conference. Then those, we'll call them the postseason matchups. It's funny how 1 year in, we're calling it pods. We can't stop calling it pods. It's only been 1 year, but we have those, and then it's into the state playoffs. So as I wrote in our Jeep Store Top 10, as the great Yogi Bear said, it is getting late early here this season. The big one from last week, one of the big ones we should say, was number 3 Donovan Catholic with a 36-19 win over number 4 Wall. I was there. Ed was there. It was our Butcher's Block Game Day Countdown game of the week. Wall had righted the ship at 2-2 with 2 impressive wins. This was a rematch of last season's, again, quote-unquote unofficial Shore Conference Championship game. And it was the Griffins 36-19. Very impressive. Jalen Butler, almost 400 yards of offense, 5 total touchdowns. And, again, the Griffins, that was a game they were looking forward to for a while, looking for some revenge, and they got it.
Well, they had a packed house at Donovan Catholic, and you were right. Jalen Butler, probably played the best game of any athlete I've seen this year in a big-time football game. We both thought that Wall came into that game, with their second win, and they were starting to get it rolling. Everybody was healthy, but Donovan certainly put it to him, and that game really in the second half was not in doubt. Donovan Catholic scored and kept scoring and so on, and you put up that many points against a Wall defense, that's saying something.
Very impressive. Butler, a true dual-threat quarterback, 221 yards passing, a couple touchdowns, ran for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns, had an interception on defense. And they have certainly big play capability. Kyrie Drake is a home run hitter on every play. But they can pound it between the tackles, too. Nunes Bukala, I'll say quietly, had 150 yards from scrimmage,
right.
Combined with receiving and rushing the ball. As we mentioned, Butler behind that big offensive line. And, Wall hung around. Wall hit and scored in ways probably we didn't anticipate.
Jackson,
a bunch of big plays.
Jackson
Cone, 5 catches for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Not bad.
Just a massive game and big plays, too. A 13-yard touchdown early, but then a 53-yarder, a 66-yarder. He also had a 50-yard catch in there that looked to set up a touchdown, but Donovan had a pick there that squashed that drive for Wall. So the Crimsonites hung around, but they couldn't get stops when they needed to. Credit Donovan Catholic's offense for making that happen. Moving to the record's 5-1 on the field, with the forfeits it's 2-2. But the Griffins are an impressive team. That's why they're number 3 in the Shore.
Yes.
So that was not the division championship, though. In that division, we'll go to Saturday, and that's where Rumson Fairhaven locked up that American Division title, a 21-6 win over Colts Neck. The Bulldogs moved to 5-0. Another impressive win for head coach Jerry Schulte and his crew. Jeff Schroeder over 150 yards on the ground. John Lista, 15 tackles, 3 sacks. Again, he's right now he's probably the favorite for the defensive player of the year.
I would agree.
With how he's playing. So Rumson undefeated, one of 6 unbeaten teams remaining in the Shore. 2 of those will be here tonight.
2 of them tonight.
So one of 6 unbeaten. They are the American Division champions. In the Colonial Division, Middletown South, our team that we'll talk about this a little more when we have those guys on. 21-14 win over Southern. Did you see the highlight of that touchdown catch by Anthony Brasco that ended up being the winner?
Yes, I did.
An acrobatic juggling catch for 51 yards for the tight end, and that ended up being the points that gave the Eagles the win and the Colonial Division title. Red Bank Catholic cruised 34-0 over Ocean to win the Constitution Division title. That's really the only one that didn't have any kind of drama attached to it. I mean, we expected RBC to win. They went and they did that. And then the Freedom Division on Saturday, Long Branch to 28-0 shutout win over Toms River South to lock that up. The Independence Division has been, even all season, as most of these divisions have, but you had 3 teams coming in at 2-1 in the division with Lacey, Middletown North, and Brick. Middletown North played Brick. The Lions came away with the win, their first division title of any kind since 1983. I don't remember who we picked to win that division at the beginning of the year. I feel like it was Lacey. But I remember us talking about Middletown North at length. And what Steve Bush and those guys have done over there has been very impressive, as they do every year. But that's a big one for the Lions. All the way back to 1983 when they won their sectional title, when the last time they had a division crown. Yeah,
they've been in that upper division for most of that time and just couldn't get over the hump. But Lacey avoided the shutout, had to come from behind against Brick Memorial and win it 28-21. Memorial's had some tough losses this year. Seems to have played everybody fairly tough. But Lacey, a pretty good football team, got some bad news right before game time when they took probably their best player, Scott Stevens, off the field due to COVID restrictions. That's tough when you lose a 2-way starter and one of the top Shore linebacker last year. Yeah. Right before game time, that was tough for him. So we'll see how long he's got to sit. But Lacey could certainly get him back into the line.
Well, and it definitely hurt them there because Brick Memorial sophomore quarterback Connor Deeds, 240 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground.
Yes.
And Brick Memorial had a 2-touchdown lead. Credit Lacey for coming back. Their senior quarterback Noah Brunati, 3 touchdowns through the air, and the Lions share that division title with Middletown North. In the Liberty Division, Central completed a really dominant run through that division. 35-6 win over Matawan. Those 6 points that Matawan scored, the only points that Central allowed in the entire division all year. I mean, they almost shut out the whole division. I don't know if that's ever happened before. If it has, it's not. I'd be at the library for a few days digging up the archives on that.
They're going to move up with some of the big boys. In the next few weeks.
They're going to have an opportunity to play some huge games. Really, that starts this week when they take on Southern. In a big rivalry game for that Boyd Emmert Trophy. But the Golden Eagles and head coach Jared Pigeon, really just a tremendous job, and they hoist a division title. That's their first outright title since 1994. So as far as owning the division all to themselves, ending a very long drought there. Our Jersey Mike's team of the week, the Panthers of Point Pleasant Borough from just down the road. Another dominant win, 41-0, over Barnegat. The number 1 scoring offense in the Shore, 41.2 points a game. The Panthers scored 5 touchdowns in all 5 of their wins this season. That flexbone is really humming along. They have dangerous options everywhere you look. 4 guys with their quarterback, Charlie Vitale, their A-back, Jay Croce, who had a huge game, then their slot backs, Connor Salento and Matt Oliphant. Tough to stop, and no one's done it so far.
I spoke to the head man over there, a personal friend of mine, Brian Staub. He got a little argument with you, Robert.
Which?
What do you think?
About not being ranked?
About not being ranked.
Look,
not in the top 10.
They are
top offense in the Shore. Just said you just gave all the accolades, okay?
They're pushing.
And, he's about tired of hearing keep an eye on.
They have been in that list for quite a while now. It's been tough, though, because the way the divisions are structured, you have a lot of these teams who,
Right.
have battled week in, week out. I'll use
I understand.
Manasquan as probably the prime example at 3-2. Who they will play in 2 weeks, so they'll be able to settle that on the field.
I tried to explain that to him, but he wasn't listening. But you're right.
It's
in
not
that
the first
postseason game, they drew Manasquan, so
Not the first time I've
that's stepping up.
unintentionally
That's
provided
stepping up.
bulletin board material, and it certainly won't be the last. And then finally in that national division, that was Monmouth Regional finishing off their division title. And what's been a great season so far for Dan Wendell and his Falcons, 38-0 over Point Beach, and they take home that division title. So those are the divisions.
I guarantee to you nobody picked Monmouth to win that division.
No. I don't think. I think we were going back and forth between a lot of Keensburgs
and Keyport.
You picked Keyport.
I picked Keyport.
And credit Monmouth. This is a team that was winless 2 seasons ago, and they have really done a nice job turning things around. So that is where we are as far as the Week 6 results. As we mentioned, that wraps up all the division schedule. So everything coming up this week, non-divisional games, some non-conference games. It's not a rivalry week across the board. But, man, there's a lot of good rivalry matchups coming up, and we'll touch on that at the end of the show, time permitting, because, like I said, we got a lot to get to with our guests that we have on tap. Anything else stand out to you, Ed,
let's get
Week
to
6?
it right now. Get Danny on here.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break here, and we come back. We're talking Long Branch football with Danny George and Christian Rodriguez. You're watching the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports Network.
One, two, three,
Back here at River Rock Restaurant Marina Bar and Brick for the Varsity Link Coaches Corner. And right now, delighted to be joined by our friends from Long Branch. It's head coach Danny George in his 23rd and final season. We'll get to that. And his outstanding senior quarterback, Christian Rodriguez, here to my left. First of all, guys, thanks, especially on a game week late in the season, for coming down on a Wednesday night and talking some football with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ed. Really made us feel welcome. We're on the sand.
We're on the beach.
On the beach. You can't beat this stuff.
Danny,
Holy
who runs Long Branch Beach during the summer, so we wanted to make him really feel at home.
Right at home, Danny. So we got to get to it first right off the bat. I mean, you announced in June that you'd be stepping down as the wrestling coach, which was effective immediately because the season was over, and then this would be your last season coaching football. And we talked a lot about why you did that, why you made the announcement before the season, so it wasn't something that you had to, had hanging over your head. Everyone knew. And, I think I've said it every week on the show. I'm like, man, the Danny George farewell tour is going really well, and here we are, coming in Week 7, and you guys are 5-0. So just first I want to ask you, getting all that out of the way in the off season, do you think that's made things easier now just in terms of just worrying about football?
100%. It's enabled us, the team, myself, to stay dialed in, to, worry about, practice that day, games those days. And it's exciting knowing that, I don't have to worry about anything other than just football.
And Christian, I'll ask you about that too, because, obviously you told the team and everything before any of us knew about it. And he's a Long Branch icon. I mean, for as long as you've been growing up, Danny, Coach George has been the coach. He's been around, and obviously his family is well known in Long Branch. Just what's it been like knowing it's his last season and going out there, and for you as a senior too, trying to make it a special one?
It's definitely a lot of motivation. Probably the most motivation we got because, obviously everybody knows him, like you said, and it's a big name. Last name George is a very big name, so we just want to do it for him and go out with a bang, and that would be the championship.
Christian, you're probably going to realize it about 10, maybe 20 years from now at those reunions when they bring up, oh, who was your coach back then? You know, some of the younger players, and you're going to say, oh, Coach George. They're going to say, oh, I remember him. You know, you got to realize how lucky you have been, as Bob said, to be coached by this guy next to me.
Yeah, he's a great one. I appreciate it a lot.
Let's get into this season now. I mean, I would say with you guys coming to the season, I don't think we knew what to expect. You know, there's always a chance you guys can be really good, and that's what's happened so far. But I think you guys are one of those unknowns, an under-the-radar team. During the preseason and everything, like, what did you think you had in this team? What did you think was the potential for this group?
Well, we've always known that this senior class had a really big ceiling to it, and you know, one of the things it's difficult in a win now world, you know, coming off of 2 seasons with the schedule we had, to see, you know, the forest through the trees, in the sense that, you know, we played the great competition and we played it very well, you know.
How good was that competition? Throw your stat at me.
I'm going to throw your stat out. So I talked with the coaches the other day about it. Our division from last year is currently 29-1, and every single team won a conference title.
Can't do much better than that.
Crazy.
You know, and you know, you're in ball games late with all of them. You know, and you know, we didn't finish well. You know, I think one of the things going into last year is we didn't have a off-season, preseason, and then we just had a season. Right. And I think one of the things that we do extremely well in LB is we have a really good off-season and we have a really good summer. You know, we love the 7-on-7 work. Our kids get excited about it. You know, we try to be a balanced team, and we were able to do that again this year. So, you know, it put us in right ahead of schedule, not behind schedule.
You know, you open up with the win over St. John Vianney, really nice win, but it was that week 2 win over Freehold Borough, which at the time was a ranked team. You go on the road on a Saturday, come with a big win. You know, you put 4 touchdowns up. More importantly, you slow down, which is, everyone knows, is a very dangerous offense. Was that a moment where you kind of saw, you know, you saw that this team had championship potential, where they can go on the road and beat a team like that and win the game pretty comfortably too?
No question. You know, we were able to do some things against a really good, you know, football team. Dave does a great job at Borough, and they give you a lot of different looks, and they give you, you know, a lot of different things that you don't really can simulate in practice.
Speed.
So, speed and that, you know, that empty set, and, you know, everybody's got to be where they're supposed to be. And, you know, we were able to also have a really good job offensively in time possession. You know, we got able to run the football. That's when we started to do it. You know, you can throw it a lot, but you got to be able to run the football late in games in order to finish games. And we were able to do that, and it keeps that offense off the field and keeps us in rhythm, in sync.
Christian, last year, basically thrown into the fire at the quarterback spot, right?
Yeah.
And had some tough times here and there, but how much did that help you this year?
This year, I think it helped me a ton, because last year it was tough, and coming in, I was nervous at first, because my prior year, my sophomore year, you know, it wasn't as good as I expected. But coming into this year, I have a whole lot of confidence in everything I do, because last year I worked on it, and this offseason, like Coach George said, we preached that a lot, to work hard in the offseason to come together, and that's where it came together, really.
Tell us about some of your backfield mates back there.
We have Sekou Kamal, Hassan Bryant, Esau Walker. We got Josh Van, play fullback sometimes for us.
You can't leave anybody out now, remember.
Yeah, I know.
Because you'll hear about it tomorrow.
We just have so many weapons.
Yeah.
There's just so many people, like, it's hard to name them all, honestly.
Right.
Let me stay on you for a second, because last year you started off game 1, you guys go and you beat Middletown South. And then obviously it was a struggle from there. You had a solid season last year as a junior. This year you've been one of the best quarterbacks in the Shore. 788 passing yards, 12 touchdowns. You ran for 4 touchdowns. What do you think has been the biggest difference for you? I mean, Ed talked about just the experience, and that's certainly there. But what were some of the things you worked on in the offseason? What do you think you improved on to where you're having this kind of year as a senior?
The biggest thing that I improved on the most was like reading the defense and honestly taking what the defense gives me instead of just forcing a deep ball or forcing something I think that's going to be open, rather than just seeing it and taking what they give. That's been the big thing. And another thing too is like progress through my reads, and if it's not there, then just take off and go and take what I get.
And Danny, senior quarterback, when you have that guy playing at the level he's playing at now and leading your team, obviously you can do some great things. What did you see from him from last year to this year in his development that, has led to him playing the way he has?
No question. With one of the other stats we have, the Rodriguez's are the bookends. So his uncle Dave was my quarterback in '99 when we won the state title. Yeah. So now I'm going out with a Rodriguez.
That's pretty cool.
He's a tremendous competitor. And, in this day and age, you can't have anybody else back there but the most fierce competitor on your team. That's where it starts. And Christian has been extremely motivated. He played a little bit as a sophomore, came in, got hurt, and he played in a semifinal game, and realized at that point what it needed to do to prepare. And then last year was just nothing but experience, we're trouble running the football against a modern day team that all 3 out of the 4 kids are going BCS Division I defensive lineman, So you got to throw the football, and you got to get rid of it quick because you're not going to protect very long. So those things that he's able to do just come with a year of experience. I don't think there's anybody to tell you. You learn so much from game to game, let alone season to season. So he's able to, his accuracy is tremendous this year. He's right around 70%.
Wow.
So we're super excited with that. And that goes into the bill of taking what the defense gives you, not getting too frustrated, and trusting. We have, he said we have weapons. I think our receiver core could be one of the best in the Shore Conference, with Mikey Hall, Jaden Farmer, KJ Thorne, and Sham.
Yeah, that's one of the things, just looking at the numbers. Like, it's extremely balanced, the offense. I mean, you even have Joshawn Presley as a tight end who can go out there and do some things. I want to talk about the defensive side because in 5 of 6 games, you guys have allowed 2 touchdowns or less. And when you guys are at your best, it's always with a fast and physical defense. Joshawn Presley is one of those guys I just mentioned who I know is really good up front. But just how about some of those other guys and what they've been able to do and why that defense has been able to have so much success?
Well, it's interesting. Our experiences on the back end in the secondary. So, we're able to, do some things with our secondary in order to, help shut down the run, which is nice. A couple of the guys that have really stepped up, with Josh Duvall, defensive end for us, had a huge game last week in the shutout. He had 5 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles. Really, he's a guy that, has been in the program for 3 years. Now it's his senior year, and he's taking advantage of every snap. We also have inside linebacker DeAndre McCullers, who has really sets the defense, the fronts, and gets everybody where they need to be. And he's a really smart football player. He's also a center for us, but this is his first year playing linebacker, which really, really helps. So he does a great job with that. Israel Delgado is someone else who is a two-way player for us that has really made some big plays at the defensive front.
Danny, did you ever just sit down and figure out how many brothers combinations played for you? No. I bet you that number would be pretty high, right?
Oh, right. Brothers, uncles, fathers, all that
and
stuff.
fathers, right? Because Christian said it before, or you said it, that who was it? His brother, right?
His uncle.
Yep.
His uncle played for you, So that number would be very high. By the way, Steve just walked in. Steve Antonucci. Between the two of you, 9 state championships. 9. 6 by Middletown South, 3 by you guys. Both of you in the Hall of Fame. I mean, what more could our listeners want?
It's pretty good.
Than to talk to you two guys tonight.
It's hard to get any better than this.
Yeah.
Christian, I want to ask you, and I've asked this to a lot of the players that have come on. Last year was obviously a very different year, as Coach mentioned. No preseason. Just you couldn't have the same kind of season. Now you're a senior, and you've had, it's been a pretty much normal season. And here you guys are having success, too. Everyone wants to have their senior year be their best. You think about that back when you're playing youth football. And here you guys are 5-0. You just won a division title. You have, eyes set on winning the sectional title, and that's a legitimate thing for you guys. Just describe what it's been like now as a senior having that kind of year and knowing you guys still have all those goals in front of you.
We're not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're trying to keep everybody composed and keep doing what we got to do to keep going. Just because we're 5-0 really doesn't mean anything. Because last year, like you seen, we was 1-6, and after we won the first game, everybody got big-headed and it went down from there. So right now, we're just trying to keep everybody together and let them know that it ain't over to a championship.
Was that something you guys talked about? Because you just mentioned that, and I said before, you guys had the win over South last year, and then, like you said, you lost the last 6. Was that a point of emphasis after the first win and after all the wins to just kind of forget about that as quickly as possible, move on to the next week?
Yeah, every time, after we get a win, we just try to forget about it, put it behind us. There ain't much you could do about it but watch film and get better from it. So now we just try to keep everything rolling.
Christian, just real quick about this week's opponent, okay? I mean, obviously it's a big rival. You guys live next to each other. I'm sure you know quite a few players that play for Ocean. Tell us a little bit about the preparation this week, what to look for.
The preparation for the week is more mentally than physically, because a lot of people.
Because they're 0-for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to go in against the 0-5, 0-16.
Yeah, especially when they're right next door, too, and they're, personally you know them, too. So it's different because some of them guys, we hang out with them sometimes, and, it's just different. It's going to be a good one.
And I know that's put into your head and all players. Like, you don't look at the record. You prepare for every opponent the same. Does it help in that it's a rivalry game where you can ignore the record because you just don't want to lose to those guys because it's a rival? Does that help during a week like this?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does because you just, like you said, you put the record behind you and you just think about competing and beating them and just getting bragging rights, really.
Danny, 23 seasons as the head coach here. You're also the head coach for two seasons at Ocean, correct?
Yeah, correct.
164 wins. You have 4 division titles now with that, or 6 overall, 4 at LB. 3 sectional titles. You had the back-to-backs in 2017, 2018. And we mentioned some of your wrestling credentials before that are large. Have you found yourself being able to kind of take this all in, knowing you've already made the decision and you went into this year having that already out of the way? Have you been able to enjoy it the way you kind of talked to me about in the summer that you wanted to?
I don't know. Have I, Christian? I think I've been a little fired up lately. It's the little things, in the decision is great and it's over, and it's just, I think the culture and coaching, especially the sport of football in this day and age, you wake up with your feet on the ground and you got to do 3, 4, 5 different things to get through the practice, and then you get through the practice, you go home, you get something to eat, and you hang out for a little bit, and you get back on your laptop and you're looking at film again because you don't want to be the guy who loses to that team. You don't want to be the guy. Like Ocean Township, it was a great 2 years of my life. It was awesome. George Conti to this day is still a mentor to me, and some of the things that we still do at Long Branch I got from George. Over there. So it's big red country, and they don't practice. They don't. Lights come on, they never stop practicing. They're going to put in 3 hours a night. They're going to know every formation and every play we run out of everything. And their kids are not going to see a 5-0 Long Branch team and not come out of the locker room. They're going to come out of the locker room like, it's just Christian. It's just say cool. I played with these guys their whole life. I'm better than them. I can beat them, and that's what they're going to try to do. And we're going to be in a fight. It's homecoming. They're even throwing us a party. Homecoming party over there in Big Red Country. So we're excited about it. I mean, this is one of the big things that I love about high school, the rival. And this is just a perfect example. There's not a bigger one that I've been involved in this one.
Well, let me ask you this. I got to ask you, what are you going to do next fall?
I'm hoping to, my wife and I go see my daughter play some fall ball down the coast of Carolina.
I was going to say, are you going to go see some of your kids and some of your players?
Yeah, I will. some of our kids right now are doing really well in college.
Yes.
Matt Clark's having a monster year up at William Patterson. Devin Blount is there as well. Matt Cadetti's at Keene. Kevin Porch at Stony Brook. And Jermaine Corbett as well. So, hope to
Plenty
get
to do.
Yeah, plenty to do. See my boys.
Great.
Christian, you play any other sports besides football?
Yeah, I play basketball and baseball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. 3-sport athletes are good.
Yeah.
What college-wise? What are you looking? You looking to play sports at the next level? If so, football, baseball, basketball. I mean, what are you thinking about beyond this season?
Yeah. Whatever I just get the best opportunity, that's what I'm gonna roll with. Honestly, that's all I'm looking for.
He's playing football. He's
Yeah.
playing football in college.
There we go.
He's
With the-
trying to talk him into go to a place where he can play some quarterback too. 'Cause
There you
Good
go.
stuff.
Yeah,
he
whatever's
can
best.
play it.
A lot of good state schools in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
exactly.
A lot
Yeah.
of good film on tape from this season too.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Sure is.
Anything else, Ed? You got
No.
your customary questions?
I want to wish Danny the best of luck, this week, and then, of course, in the postseason. See, I already stopped calling them pods. Pods are out now. Pods are out.
We'll touch on that real quick. You
Yeah.
guys,
Your draw. You drew a bye.
The pod games, they're really just 2 additional games postseason, whatever you want to call them. They're really good matchups for everyone. You guys have one, and that's going to be against Rumson Fairhaven in Week 9. That's the week before the state playoffs. Just tell us about that opportunity. Right now, Rumson's the number 1 team in the Shore. That could change. They play Red Bank Catholic on Friday night, and they'll have another game in between that. But either way, you're going to be matching up against a really good team. Just thoughts on that and that matchup coming down the line.
It'll be exciting. It'll be an opportunity to see where we stand, see what we need to, what we can do against a great team. We've played them the last couple years, so we're comfortable with what they do. They do it really well. We just, we're built on, playing the best teams. This year we played what was given to us. We want to stay healthy too, because it's a week before the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, when you play, the big thing with me is, it's not the best time to play it just because we're going into the next week. Our numbers are a bit down right now, just, from the COVID and everything. But, in Group 4, that first game is a game. You're playing a really good team from somewhere that could have been stuck in, like
section.
Wall, who's a great team, but played really good, in some type of conference, the Olympic
got
conference down
got
south, and
losses.
now all of a sudden you're banging, with the big boys. So, so it's a good balance between getting better and exciting, because let's be honest, our kids love our kids want a piece back. You know what I mean? In competition, but we take what we what the opportunity we get, and we'll be excited. It'll be at our place, which will be neat too.
Yeah.
We don't last 2 times.
Have to go there.
Yeah. So,
Christian, real quick, my last one for you. I just want to ask you. Back in 2018, or was that 18A, you guys won the sectional title. You were, I don't know, what were you? Were you a freshman or were you in 8th grade back then?
I was a freshman.
So, that was a sectional championship game at home, won by you guys. I'm sure you were there watching it. How much would it mean to have that same opportunity? Play for a championship game at home in front of the LB fans? I'm sure that's something you thought about.
It will mean a lot, especially with everything we've been through personally, mentally, physically. I just feel like we've been through so much and we worked so hard, and that would be the icing on the cake. That would mean everything.
Yeah, we covered that game.
We did. It was an
that was
epic
a
one.
great
football
game.
It was.
Got to thank you guys for coming down. And Danny, just again, it's not over. We'll be talking to you a bunch in the coming weeks, but just for joining us tonight, it's been a pleasure to be covering your teams ever since I started in football and in wrestling. We've had a lot of conversations over the years, and you've always been great with us. You've always coached with a ton of class and have had a ton of success, and those two things go hand in hand. So we want to congratulate you on a great career. That's not over yet, because I know you want to add some more accolades to that. But, again, for everything that you've done for Shore Conference football, for wrestling, for Long Branch, it's meant a lot, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ed, for having us. It's exciting anytime to talk football, especially now in the situation we're in, and it's exciting. It's great. And to come on before the legend, Coach Antonucci, I'd like to, say my personal friend, because I believe it. We back in my first year at Ocean. We were banging with each other. So it's awesome stuff. And the best news is they're in North.
Yeah,
Section.
You don't got to worry about it now. That's
worry.
true.
And we didn't get him in the pod, so it's been a good day
He's
so
looking,
far.
he's
today.
looking for some revenge from last year, right? Game 1.
Absolutely.
Well, good stuff. Danny,
Thank you, Dan.
Christian, thank you very much for coming
Thank
down. It's Danny George from Long Branch, along with senior quarterback Christian Rodriguez. We'll go from one Hall of Famer to another, and we come back. We'll talk Middletown South football here on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner.
One, two, three, family!
Back here at River Rock Restaurant Marina Bar and Brick for the Week 7 Varsity Link Coach's Corner. We'll tell you about Varsity Link. What is it? It's the athlete's social media network. It's the first social media platform designed as a recruitment tool to help enhance an athlete's opportunity and a coach's recruitment process. It also allows friends, family, and the football community a chance to be a part of the action as athletes and coaches post and interact. So to join the community, visit their website, www.varsitylink.com, or download the Varsity Link app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And also, we got to talk about our Block Game Day Countdown, our big new feature that's been running all this season. The crux of it is find the Shore Sports Network SUV at our Game of the Week. Sign up to win dinner for 6 plus limousine transportation to the Butcher's Block and Table restaurant in Long Branch, which will be opening very soon. Tom D'Ambrisi, former standout quarterback at Monmouth Regional. Those guys do an awesome job up there. That place is really something else. So a huge opportunity to win, dinner for 6, which will be a really special night up there. This week we will be at Borden Stadium in Rumson for the number 1 versus number 2 matchup between Rumson and Red Bank Catholic. So look for the Shore Sports Network SUV. Ed will be there doing our Facebook Live updates. Steve Meyer will be there. So make sure you sign up and get your name in there and enter to win. So look for that on Friday night. Right now we're joined by Middletown South head coach Steve Antonucci and his senior quarterback Tom Shork. I mean, what a show. We get 2 Hall of Fame coaches on here and 2 of the best guys that you'll ever meet, 2 guys that I've really had the pleasure of covering teams for a long time. And so I just say first, Steve, thanks a lot for coming down, and you too, Tom. A bye week, so a little bit more convenient for you guys. Coming off a real nice win, 21-14 over a very tough Southern Regional team on the road. Lock up the division title. So 5-0, you got 1 title on the belt. I know you guys are chasing another one. So just how about it? How about the Eagles so far?
Well, first, obviously we got to thank you guys for everything you guys do. This is tremendous,
Yeah, thank you.
And we appreciate being here. We appreciate everything that you guys do. This is an honor to be here. So we're excited, and we're excited to be where we are. We've been in 2 games where we've won on the last play of the game, and we've had an exciting season start. So we're really appreciative, of being where we are right now, obviously, and having an opportunity to move on and hopefully get to a situation where we can play for another championship.
Steve, did you like the way the Shore Conference set up the postseason matchups, as opposed to like 4-4-4?
Yeah, man, I thought it was pretty fair for the most part. Mm-hmm. I thought the matchups were going to be great. There's some really good matchups in there. Obviously we got a pretty good one. Going to Rumson next week, so we're excited for the opportunity. Obviously they play Friday night against a very good opponent, and not that it'll have anything to do with anything, but just the fact that you got an opportunity to play a quality football team on a Friday night, in the Shore Conference. So we're excited about that opportunity and look forward to it, and we'll start preparing as quickly as we can.
Tom, a division title under your guys' belt now, 21-14 that win over Southern. So you guys are colonial division champions. I know that's probably the first thing on your list. You say, hey, let's go out and win our division. We got to talk about how you did it. That touchdown pass to your tight end, Anthony Brasco, that's a highlight that'll be up on our Plays of the Week segment. It looked like he tipped it away from the defender, then to himself. I mean, he deflected it a bunch of times and go in the end zone. Take me through that play and what you're seeing as that's unfolding downfield to put you guys up, which I think put you up 21-7 at the time.
Well, whenever I see Brasco with a one-on-one matchup, I know I'm going to him. He's that guy. He has probably the best hands on our team, and that really wasn't a surprise to any of us when he did that, because in practice, that's really all he does.
And a tough game, too. I mean, Southern is a physical team. They ran the ball pretty well. Just how about being in a game like that? You guys have been used to that, actually. Almost every game has been close at some point or another. Do you guys feel comfortable in those types of games? You know you can pull it out and find a way to win in the second half?
Oh, yeah, that just shows what kind of team we are. We never give up throughout the game. We'll never lie down. We'll never go away. We'll always fight, really, to the last play.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's a good attitude, Tommy, mention some of your running backs back there.
We got Dan Primiano. He's a senior. He's very good. He's very fast. He's very physical. We also have a younger guy, Donovan Summy, who's he's going to rise up. He has a lot of potential. He's doing very well. We also have Austin Ruzecki in the backfield. He's a very good blocker for us. And we also have Bo Servideo. He's also younger. And he's also one of the fullbacks. He's a very good blocker as well.
Tom, I was just going to say, growing up, the swamp, how much did you look forward to playing there, even though it's not a swamp anymore?
Yeah, well, it's awesome. It's Mid-South always has a huge tradition with the nation, everybody, Hell's Bells running down the hill. It's just a great tradition that I always wanted to be a part of it.
Those kids are kind of crazy in the stands. Huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You live for that, though.
I know, yeah.
Like, how much did you – obviously, you missed it last year. Did you realize how much you missed it when
absolutely.
you come in this year and
absolutely.
you have it again?
That really fuels us, really. That makes the game that much more fun, seeing them out there rooting for us. It's awesome.
We'll touch on this briefly because I'm sure you don't want to go into too much, but a few weeks ago, career win number 200. I know that was a special night in that 27-0 win over Jackson. To be at Middletown South as long as you've been, this is your 24th season. You talked about how you didn't anticipate that when you first started that job, but it's been a great run, and I know you got a lot more still left in you. Just how much fun is it coaching at Middletown South with all the success and all the tradition and everything that goes with it?
It's been such a huge honor for me. I mean, it's a great place. And Tom just talked about the environment on Friday nights. I mean, it's when we hit the top of the hill, on a game night, to me, it's one of the greatest experiences as a Shore Conference opponent, as a home team. There's just something about being in that environment on a Friday night.
Sort of like a Clemson, huh?
Yeah,
coming down the hill.
It does. Yeah, you're right. To the high school degree.
Yeah,
it is. It is such an amazing experience. I mean, I'm 51 years old, and I tell these guys all the time, I get goosebumps when I stand at the top of that hill.
Yep.
And when we run down that hill, and Hell's Bells is playing, and it's just the environment is as good as it can possibly be, and it just makes it that much more fun.
The 5 head coaches in the history of the program, Rich Mosca, Keith Comerfro, John Andel, Bob Generelli, and yourself. And I know you take a lot of pride in that. I mean, it's like almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, you're a coach, he's going to be around for a long time. And the tradition that you guys have, and you're such a huge part of that. And Middletown South has an identity. When people think of Shore Conference football, there are a handful of programs people think about. Brick, Manasquan, Middletown South. Like, how much pride do you take in that you've played a big part in that, where, like I said, you guys are one of those identity standard-bearing programs?
Well, let me just say that, after that game, I got text messages from those guys, and to me, there's no better compliment. I mean, when you talk about Bob Generelli and John Andel and Keith Comerforo and Rich Mosca, I mean, those guys were the they built the foundation of that thing. I was fortunate enough to get in there at the time that I did and do the things that we've been able to do. And my goal from day one was to the program was already the program. I wanted to take it to another level, and hopefully, and at least I think we've done that to the degree that I think we can. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else we can do other than keep winning, and that's what we want to do. I mean, that's the bottom line, And when our guys come into our program, these guys will tell you over there too, and Tom will tell you the same thing. My first comment is, we're going to win championships. You know, you're going to win a championship here. You know, and that's the goal, and that will never change as long as I'm the head coach.
And on that, Steve, 202 and 59 in 24 seasons. Just while you've been there, 12 division titles now with the Colonial Division wrapped up last weekend. 6 NJSIA sectional titles, the last one coming in 2015. 5 undefeated seasons, the number 1 team in the state a handful of times. You had a short conference record, 43-game winning streak. So, yeah, like you said, I mean, there's not much more you can do that you haven't done already. It's just about going and winning. And when you have a new crop of kids, the challenge is still there because, hey, let's get these kids through and win it. And you talked about that a little bit. You get a new class through, and that excitement builds again. And you certainly have that this year with a really good senior class. Tommy's part of that. Jack Latour, Jake Williamson. I want to ask you about this group because they're pretty special, and that's a big reason why you guys are 5-0.
I love these kids. I tell them all the time. I have no problem with telling a kid or a group of kids that I love them. I mean, these guys do so much for us. The sacrifices that kids make, you know, and you guys know. You guys have been in this for a long time. The summer practices, the weight rooms, the every day, just coming every day and giving us effort every single day. You know, there's so much that goes into winning, and you know, you got to really buy into it. You know, and as a high school kid, there's so many distractions in the world today now too that you don't really count. You don't take in account for what's going on in their lives, but. These guys are tremendous, man. They're a great group of guys who work hard every single day. They have fun with one another, and the formula for winning, and Danny will tell you this too, is you bring a group together, and they have fun with one another, and they enjoy being around one another, and when they start winning, it becomes contagious, and that's the thing, man. When they start buying into it, that's when you know you have a good thing.
Steve, I want to ask you a little bit about your staff. Not every program wins with just the head coach. You've got a tremendous staff led by the guy who runs the defense, and defense wins championships.
Consistency. I
mean, tell us about it.
You look at Steve Roberts, Al Bigos, Nick Trezza, Joe Trezza, Mark Tomo. Our freshman coach Jeff Martin played for us. Rod Murchie played for us. These guys are all part of our program at some point in time or another. And like you said, they've been with us for so long. The little known fact this year, honestly, is Mark Tomo was our defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's funny because Roberts was telling me that today.
I mean, and Al's still a huge part of what we do. And Al wanted to take a little step back, obviously, with his son graduating and going out of college, and Mark was right there for the opportunity, and he's been tremendous. I mean, he really has. I mean, we haven't missed a beat. He works as hard as anybody we've worked with. He and Joe Trezza are basically the quasi defensive coordinators together, and. Al's coaching the linebackers, but he's having a blast, and it's good. It's good for our program. It's good for everything. And like I said, the one thing, young guys getting into this business, consistency. If you can have consistency with your staff, if you're not guys going in and out every day and, or every year, or whatever you want to call it, to have that level of consistency with your guys is important, especially for your kids, because they get to know people, they get to know what you do, they get to know what you're all about.
Tom, you have a unique perspective in that you're a two-way starter. So you're the quarterback, everything that's going on offensively. You're also a starter in the secondary and one of the best defenses in the Shore. And you can play to that defense. I mean, you guys are only allowed, I think it's like 7-point-something points per game. It's not a lot. And you know what that unit can do. And on the offensive side, that allows you to be patient, to not force things, to maybe punt the ball if you have to and trust those guys. Just how about having that kind of defense, and what it allows you guys to do as a team in general?
Yeah, well, when the defense is consistently getting 3 and outs and getting turnovers, it makes us on offense, our jobs a lot easier. We don't really have to force anything, like you said, and it, I don't know, we just use the momentum that the defense gives us to drive down the field and score every time.
You have a secondary that's very opportunistic. First of all, you have a player named Matt Grab. Is there a better last name for a kid who's a receiver and a D-back? I mean, come on, you can't make that up. But you guys are known for getting after the quarterback and have been for a very long time. I mean, you guys bring the heat on third down. And quarterbacks are sometimes going to throw it up. But are you guys kind of licking your chops back there when the blitz is coming, the quarterback might just be trying to get it out there before he gets killed, and you guys might have a chance for a pick?
Yeah, our defensive line is consistently bring pressure to the quarterback, so it makes our jobs in the secondary a lot easier. It gives us more chances to really pick the ball off.
Yeah, Graham's got 3 interceptions.
It's the best name for a receiver and
He should
D-back.
lead the team in interceptions, right, with a name like that.
Steve, Jack Latour is a standout. I mean, in the Jackson game, they couldn't block him with the tackle. They had a tight end over. Like, he just caves in that side of the line. He's a pretty darn good tight end, too. But just how about what he brings to your defense and his ability to just wreak havoc coming off the edge?
Well, when you get players like Jack, they change the culture of your program. It's like the Morenos and the Macalusos and the great players that we've had in the past. I mean, Jack he's a legitimate player, and he raises the level of our kid, every kid. The way he practices, the way he goes about his business. You watch him on game tape. He has a nonstop motor. He plays every snap on defense like it's the first snap of the game. And that's the kind of intensity that he brings to our kids. And these kids see that, and once they see that, they feed off of that, and that's what made us great when we were in our run. I mean, I talked about those guys, Macaluso and Moreno, those guys. They brought us to a whole nother level. They practiced like that, and they played like that, and people had to, you had to step your game up. You couldn't be that guy that was slacking. So that's what he brings to us.
And Jack Latour in the season, 43 tackles, 3 sacks, 13.5 tackles for loss, couple forced fumbles, couple touchdown catches.
Who does he remind you of, Latour? Couple years back, Jackson McCarthy.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
A little bit,
Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt.
Wasn't he the defensive player of the year?
I was going back a little bit. I was thinking Brody Graham, that two-way tight end and defensive end.
I mean, McCarthy.
Agree.
Boy,
Agree.
Coming off the edge like that.
Yeah.
Another kid had stood out. In the 2 games I've covered of you, I think he has 3 total sacks, and that's your sophomore linebacker, Colin Gallagher.
Yeah.
When he comes on the blitz, it is like he's shot out of a cannon. Just how about him? I mean, when you send him, he gets there.
Well, just to show you how old I am, I coached his dad. His dad went to Princeton, played there, and Colin, who's a sophomore for us right now, has been tremendous. I mean, we knew last year as a freshman watching him play that he was going to be an impact player for us, and it was just a simple matter of just, implementing me into the defense and putting me into the right place in our defense where he can do what he can do best. And he's been huge. I mean, the great thing about Jack and Colin is, they're on opposite sides of the defense, so you got to account for both guys, and that's what's, that was planned.
A couple other standouts there. Jack Willie, your senior linebacker in the middle, I know is a super important player. Jake Williamson, I know, along the line, a really great two-way player for you guys, part of that really good offensive line.
Yeah.
Personal story, Steve. We covered a game a few years back when Al's son was a senior, and I was on the sideline very close to the action, and then the kid gets hurt. And I think, was it a broken leg, I believe, right? Yeah. Broken leg.
Nasty injury.
I mean,
junior year, right?
Very nasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole sideline just, I felt like I was at a funeral, I mean, that's how much they love this coach and play for this coach. And I know he felt, worse than anybody else on the field, but he continued to coach.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
I could never put myself in his shoes that night.
Right.
It was as difficult as it was for me to witness it, and then to, obviously know that one of my best friends in the whole world is going through this, tremendous, devastating thing. It was tough. It really was.
Yeah.
And I commend him, and I commend Brendan for working and getting back. And being able to play.
You guys have a bye this week, so before today, really, I mean, what was the preparation like? You didn't know who you were going to play. You knew you were going to have an opponent coming up soon, but what were you guys doing these past, I guess, since the win over Southern, with really not knowing who your next opponent's going to be?
Oh, well, we're always working out. We're always either lifting or getting on-field work in. The coaches always bring us a practice plan for practice, so we're never really, taking any time off. We're always really getting work in.
And when it came out earlier today that, hey, you have the bye this week, but next week in the postseason, it's Rumson. So they could be the number 1 team in the Shore by then. If not, they'll be the number 2 team, depending on what happens in the RBC game. And it's, you guys have had some really good games over the years. It's a proximity rivalry. Is that a rivalry? Is Middletown South Rumson a rivalry? Would you consider it one?
We're both always at the top, so I mean, I guess you could kind of consider it, but we're always. I mean, it is always a dogfight, so we're all looking forward to it.
What were your thoughts originally when you saw that? Hey, we're gonna have Rumson in 2 weeks.
Well, they're obviously a good team, so we're just already preparing for it. We're already watching film. We're already game planning for it. So we're just gonna get ready for Rumson.
Get a chance to see him up live, right?
Yeah.
If you
we'll
want to
get a chance
attend
see him
Friday,
on
right?
To Tom's point, I mean, I thought we practiced yesterday and today and been really good practices. We were half pads yesterday, full pads today. We'll go full pads tomorrow. Yeah, I
You
thought
know,
we've had 2 good goes.
Yeah, being undefeated, you sort of figured you were going to get one of those top
Oh,
teams,
no doubt.
right?
Yeah, no, we,
You
we
know?
were expecting RBC,
RBC
Donovan
or
Catholic,
Rumson,
Rumson,
right.
one of those 3 teams.
This team seems like it's got a lot of it's got a lot of grit to it. The way you've won your games. I mean, the Jackson game was really only the blowout. Even the Homedale game, like Homedale's tough, man. They force you to defend that veer all game, and that's not easy. And then obviously the overtime win over Manalapan. The Southern game was very close, and you had to deal with Jaden Brown, who's a horse back there. Has this team developed those like calluses, I guess you could say, where they feel perfectly comfortable in these tight games late, and they figured out how to win those games?
Yeah, I said it the other day to my staff. I don't know if there's a team that's been more challenged than us. We've won games on the last play of the game twice, and been in situations where, not too many teams have been in, and these kids have been resilient. They've found a way to win, and we're sitting here tonight, reaping the benefits of that. We're going to play a quality team, next Friday night, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same. Leave us hanging around a little bit. As Tom said before, we're going to fight to the bitter end. And we'll find a way.
Real quick, is it weird having 2 buys in here? Because obviously you had the off week because you're supposed to have Mater Day originally on the schedule, and that was the week before Southern, week 5. So you have a bye, you play Southern, you have another bye. Yeah. Is that seems like it's probably a different challenge for you guys? I don't know if you've ever had that before.
It's been unique. I tried real hard to get a game in the previous bye, and when you're trying to play Middletown South, people don't want to play Middletown South.
Exactly.
It was hard to try to sell somebody to get a game, unless we were going out of state or going up north or whatever, and it was difficult, and even this week we really couldn't find an opponent, and it's been good and bad. I think the good part of it is we're going to go into Rumson next week. We're going to be healthy. We're going to have an opportunity for a little bit of extra preparation and be able to see if we can go in there and be successful.
And they're going to be coming off of a
tough
bloodbath.
battle, no doubt.
Yeah. Tom, you play any other sports?
I also play basketball.
What are you looking to do college-wise? You looking to play sports in college?
Definitely football.
Good stuff.
Definitely football, yeah.
Awesome. Always, you've had countless kids go on and play at the next level.
Yeah.
How much of a joy, whether it's No Sham Moreno going to Georgia or whether it's, a program kid just going to play anywhere, like how much pride do you take in that, seeing those kids, hey, they want to continue their career and they're able to do it?
Tremendous. I love sports in general, so I'll go watch a game. I'll go anywhere. I'll travel, to see any of these guys anytime, anywhere. I love the, just the opportunity to speak with coaches about guys like Tommy.
The atmosphere.
Yeah, just, look, Tommy's a tremendous player, and he's going to find himself a good place to play football, and he's going to be great there, and I'm excited about the opportunity for him.
Well, good stuff, guys. Stick it right here because we only got a couple minutes left. We'll run through the we're not. Look, he's the boss. He's the producer back there.
So right there.
We will take a quick break, and then me and Ed will come back for just a couple minutes and talk about the Week 7 matchup. Steve, Tom, I can't thank you guys enough for coming down. We could talk football with you guys all night, especially you and Danny, but unfortunately it's only a 1-hour show. So thank you again for coming down. We appreciate you talking football with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Steve Antonucci and Tom Short from Middletown South. Those guys are bye this week and then back in action for a big one in Week 8. As I said, we'll take a quick break. Ed and I will wrap up Week 7 here on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner.
One, two, three,
Back here at River Rock Restaurant, Marina Bar and Brick, wrapping things up on the Week 7 Varsity Link Coach's Corner. Once again, got to thank our guest, Long Branch head coach Danny George and his senior quarterback Christian Rodriguez, and Middletown South head coach Steve Antonucci and his senior quarterback Tom Shork. 4 great guests and 2 head coaches who we have an extreme amount of respect for. Great to talk football with those guys, Ed.
Yes, tremendous. I mean, we could talk hours with those guys. And, hey, both have undefeated programs going this week, and I look for them to make a little run in the state tournament after these last conference games.
It should be fun. These next several weeks are really going to be fun.
Very.
And that starts with this week, which is a quasi-rivalry week. A lot of rivalry games on the schedule, headlined by Red Bank Catholic and Rumson Fairhaven. That'll goes down. Number 1 versus number 2 Friday night at Borden Stadium in Rumson. If you're going, get there early. I might have to go there Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly.
See if Chris Lanzalato give me a spot inside. I could sleep.
Look for the Shore Conference van.
The Shore Sports Network.
Where we
SUV.
setting up? Where we setting up, Steve? We don't know yet.
Hopefully
okay.
as close as possible, and that's for our block game day countdown. We'll be there. Sign up to win dinner for 6 and limousine transportation at the Butcher's Block, Butcher and Table in Long Branch. For more details, check out shoresportsnetwork.com. And, of course, like I said, find the Shore Sports Network SUV. You can't miss it. Everything you need will be there.
I'll go over a couple of these games that are interesting.
We got to go through something because there's a lot of rivalry ones here.
RBC Rumson, of course.
Yes.
We've mentioned that all night. Southern Central.
The Boyd Emmerich Trophy
outstanding.
on the line.
Yeah.
Number 8 Central undefeated versus number 9 Southern. 2 losses, but those 2 losses, coming close to Manalapan and to Middletown South.
I like the St. John Vianney at Middletown North. 2 programs that are playing very well.
The border war, Holmdel and Raritan. That's been a really good game the last few seasons, as Holmdel has really played much better and been one of the better programs in the Shore. So that's an interesting matchup in Hazlitt at the Launchpad Friday night.
Yeah, Donovan and Wall both go out of the area. Wall against Lenape, always a good program. Down a little bit this year, but a solid program. And Donovan will entertain Rawway, always a good program. They're down a little bit too, 2-4. I think they come in.
And then of course the battle in Jackson Liberty at Jackson Memorial. An interesting one, not a rivalry game by any stretch, but Manasquan at Tom's Reese. The first time I believe those 2 teams have ever met, which is always nice.
East down a little bit this year, 1-5. How about the I had it right here at the Jackson Memorial.
Yeah,
winless.
It's certainly shocking
and
to
tough
see.
game. A lot of tough games they've lost.
Very tough. Jackson, one of the top programs, usually year in and year out in that Colonial Division. They've lost. They're 0-6 so far, so certainly they're going to try to get their first win on the board, and you can turn things around quickly. You get a win here, and you have some of those postseason matchups, and see if you can turn things around. And who knows? Their strength of schedule is good. I don't have the PowerPoints in front of me, but who knows? You win your next 3 games, you could potentially give yourself an outside chance to get in one of those last spots in the playoffs.
Remember, it's 16 teams that make it, and divided by North and South.
Exactly. So if
and
you're one of those
16, they'll divide them by 8.
Yes.
So you never know.
On Saturday, Keensburg Keyport round 2. So the Bayshore Bell went to Keyport, the first one. I don't think they play for it again. I could be wrong. I'm sure those guys will correct me if not, but that should be a battle. Manalapan at Freehold Borough, a sneaky good game. Same thing, Lacey at Colts Neck. Colts Neck unsure if they'll have senior quarterback Tommy Fallon. He was injured 2 weeks ago, did not play last week. That's obviously huge if they don't have him. And another good one, 2 division champions, undefeated Point Borough, as we mentioned, the number 1 offense in the Shore. At Monmouth Regional, 5-1 are the Falcons. So that is a very interesting game as the Panthers try to finish the regular season undefeated. And that wraps us up, Ed.
Yeah, great show tonight, Bob.
Once again, want to thank our guests, Long Branch's Danny George and Christian Rodriguez, Middletown South, Steve Antonucci, and Tom Shork, their senior quarterback. Once more from Varsity Link, our sponsor tonight and every week here on the Coach's Corner. It's the Athlete Social Media Network, the first social media platform designed as a recruitment tool to help enhance an athlete's opportunity and a coach's recruitment process. Visit them at www.varsitylink.com or download the app anywhere you download your apps, the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. That wraps it up. We're done here from River Rock. For Ed Sarluca, I'm Bob Batters. Thanks again for watching the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports Network.